Hi, today on our little video here we're going to show you how to glaze. You'll see some pieces sitting here and they're all in different stages of being glazed. These small pigs here have got 3 coats of glaze on them. A large pig has its first coat on, and the planter over here has its second coat. Glazing is used mostly for utility pieces, anything that's going to be exposed to the weather, is going to be exposed to food, drink, anything like that. And it serves many purposes. You have a lot of decorative purposes, a lot of things that you can do with it. There's 4 kinds of glazes. There's transparent, which means exactly what it says, it's transparent. There's semi-transparent, which is what's on the pigs. Semi-transparent is good if you're glazing over detail work. So like we painted the pig's eyes and her hoofs in with solid colors, so we're using a semi-transparent glaze over top, so when it's fired, the detail underneath will show through. Now what's on this turtle is what's called a semi-opaque, which is basically just what it infers. You will have a little bit of see-through, but it's mostly a solid color with a little bit of difference on the highlights. I don't have any pieces here at the moment with an opaque glaze on. The opaque glaze is best used on smooth pieces, and it's exactly what the name says it is. It's opaque. No underglaze will show through underneath it, and it's used usually for utility items, bowls, dishes, cups, anything that you want a solid coverage on with no variation in the color. As you see on the bottom of these pigs, some people do not glaze the bottom of their pieces. They prefer to dry foot everything. Dry footing means unglazed wherever it's going to touch the shelf in the kiln. I don't do that as a rule, just because it makes the piece look unfinished. Some pieces, though, it is necessary, which I'm going to show you in a few minutes. When it's impossible to put a piece on a stilt, then dry footing is the only way to go. Like I said, the stilts are used to hold your glazed pieces. They have titanium pins in them. They're used to hold the glazed pieces up off the shelf, because if you put a glazed piece on a shelf, it'll just fuse right to the floor of the kiln, right to the shelf. So everything that you glaze needs to be stilted. On this piece, as I'm going to show you, it is very hard to stilt because you have a very small area here. So what we're going to do is glaze the entire pig and leave these 4 surfaces unpainted. What I'll do is, before I put it in the kiln, I'll run a wet silk sponge over these to make sure there is no glaze on the bottom. That way she can set directly on the shelf and you won't have to worry about it slipping. Like I said, there's not a whole lot of area here for a stilt. That way you don't have to worry about it slipping off the pins during the firing process. Like I said, she has 1 coat, and most glazes require 3 coats. Some opaque glazes, depending on what color you use, will require 4. Now this piece has got lots of area on the bottom, so you should have no problem sitting this up on a stilt. Like I said, as long as you don't have any area touching your shelves or touching anything in the kiln, you're good to go.